slide by and get your farm up.
Little cheeky update from Stream B as well. Apparently GXR taking a 2-0 over a Team Mystery. Very good to see.
Yeah.
So boom, you see the double iron shells, John. Palos, he's going to go for an immediate spin through the creep wave. He's not going to secure that much CS, but he does get a couple, and it seems like Palos does believe it's going to be a rather hard laning stage as Hyde just runs right through him. Takes the creep wave the other way. In fact, FBZ does get the aggro thanks to the iron shell. I guess this is one way to do it as well. Just try and secure your own early levels here for the Darks here before you really start annoying Palos.
Yeah, it's going to take some levels up to really get that huge advantage for Boom here. I think level 3 is a good spike for both the Darkseer and that Tusk. And we're going to have to see if Hyde opts for the tag team down line. We've seen a lot of Tusks nowadays go for that shard snowball, especially in the last series. So have to keep our eyes open for Hyde there. But Nico.
Yeah, that's that double stun kind of lane I talked about, John. The Dragon Tail and Arrow being thrown out, and of course for Kescute, if it does connect, you're almost guaranteed to just die. Streamer Cell, he can go for the early level on call if he really wants to try and negate that from happening again, but I'd say it's probably better Dreamer Cell just focuses on his own kind of skill build and farm, and Kescute, I suppose, just has to be a little bit cautious about the way he positions himself.
Yeah, you just got to be really careful there. Even at level 2, I don't think it feels great for Kescute, because he's going to have to consider when he uses the Icarus dive, and Yuko can all just run up, get the Dragon Tail off, easy setup for BDZ. For the most part, this is a slower start for Dreamer Cell as well, and they get that combo off.
They get it again. Nico, he's not going to be able to finish off the axe, but he gets through so much of the region of Dreamer Cell. He's only got one Tango and a Fairy Fire left, but he can go over to Kescute and get himself salved up. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Hyde, FBZ, testing a small camp pull, and it's very hard to pull the small camp when you are up against the Darkseer Tusk lane. Not really much in the way of being able to actually farm that up yourself if you are RR on the AA. FBZ and Hyde can always just kind of run in and take it away. As bot lane, Dreamer Cell again taking so much damage. They're trying to chase him down a little bit as Nico. A bit more damage off, but in the end we'll get back to CSing. And the region just kind of a little bit dry here for Boom Esports.
Yeah, they just can't sustain through that combo, and it's one of those things for the DK and Melee matchup, right? You just walk up to the creep wave, get the stun off on Axe. Even though the Axe is like this super tanky frontliner, it's not like he's getting max use from his counter kill. There it goes again.
They've got it every time. Every time Dreamer Cell steps up for a CS, he's going to cop it. BDZ, he wants to try and go for this kill, but Dreamer Cell, he's going to be out of vision. In fact, I'd say it's more worth just leaving him alive with low HP. Kescute, he will give away another Tango to Dreamer Cell, but they've got no salves and no extra regen on the way, so this is becoming a really tough lane for Dreamer Cell. You look on the opposing side, Palos is having a very good time on the jug. No real kind of headache for him on this Juggernaut at all. He's 20-3.
Boom's just not able to exert that pressure like we really expect, especially in that top lane. I think we expected more from a Tusk. Darkseer just being able to run down, but that conservative style from Execration is just helping Palos. He's not overextending, he's not really looking for any plays with the AA, and just leads to this really sort of solid start where CS is just racking up. The only great lane right now for Boom is that mid. Mikato on that Kunkka is really overtaking the Invoker by a good amount, and that should lead to a nice early level 6 spike. Maybe you can start to see plays. Once the boat is up, you might have to look for those rotations to buy some space out.
Alright, he's going to make a run up onto RR with that surge out, but there is going to be a TP coming in immediately from BDZ. Arrow not going to land a nice snowball on RR. He is still tied to the Iron Shell. It goes through the snowball's hide. He's going to try and run, but will eventually tie to BDZ. They'll even find a courier. This is going to end up being a 1-for-1 trade, and I suppose it's a fairly even trade, but Execration, they do come out with a little bit more. That sort of courier is the cherry on top.
Yeah, they're going to feel really good about that one. Does, have to drag in a additional hero to find that kill, but you're getting more off the board. You can afford to leave your DK alone. Level 4, not going to melt to the axe spins. You do have a call up on Dreamo Cell that it's not like he's going to be able to fully commit onto the DK. And that just leaves many more opportunities for Execration to play this space, even down mid. Like, they've already started to be aggressive onto Mikado. Yoa just playing with that EMP and Tornado, and if they actually landed the arrow, I don't know if Mikado could have looked through that unless he got the boat off.
I mean, they call this instilling the fear of God into the side of Boomers mid lane. They're going to try and go into Yoa. It looks like they found him with the boat connecting, but the arrow is going to be there until Hyde. Fire Spirit does connect though. Yoa should eventually tick out, and he does. And Hyde's the one to claim it with the shards being thrown out. So a very valuable kill there for Boom Esports. An Execration. They tried to save Yoa, but it just wasn't quite enough.
The huge amount of supports coming in from both sides to find that kill and to defend that Invoker. Really much needed kill for Boom though. Like, we were looking for that movement out with the first boat. Pays off for Boom and does give them some space on the side lanes that they desperately need. I think you're at the point where Execration's fine with leaving your course. Like, a Jug at 6 has so many ways of saving himself against Darkseer. He's got Omni Slash to bail out as well.
Arrow does connect, a nice setup, but where's the damage? You've got that cross-sweating.
Shout out kay Aaron Hell Era Arbolide, salamat sa pag-following. Tignan mo sa likod mo, baka may nakasunod sa'yo.
Well, you have the follow-up either. At top lane is where we'll see Palace dropping.
Yeah, it's just they left him alone for a bit too long, and there are only so many ways you can save yourself as the Jug. The spin, the Omni Slash is there, but if you just don't have any backup in that time you buy for yourself, there's just no turning around. And that movement mid does cost him to Jug, so it's a bit of a trade-off for Execration. They don't find a kill. They have to be a bit cautious about overcommitting for something like the Kunkka, and we've seen that before. Kunkka's a really tanky hero just from his raw stats. Very hard to burst down if you really want to commit to him. So you might want to look for softer targets in the back. Maybe eyeing the Phoenix is probably your best bet, especially while that egg is down.
From lane, Nico, he'll get the Dragon Tail off, the Cold Feet, the arrow, all of it being thrown out, but the boat run now is going to actually just kind of make him so much tankier. But they do go after Nico and they do get him. There you go, John. They lock him down for so long, but it just doesn't matter when you have the Kunkka behind you. And very valuable kind of rotation being made there by Makoto. Is he paying off very nicely?
Yeah, it's just, again, it's what we talked about in draft. These three cores are really tanky. Axe, Kunkka, to an extent the Darkseer. You can't quite just fully commit, and especially since Dreamercell has his Vanguard, your physical damage is just not that good.
Making a rotation himself now with the Arrow Tornado connecting. This time around, Dreamercell will not have the help, and he'll already give the sorry away as give his life away, and that's not going to feel too great. But obviously couldn't TP as he just committed it in the earlier engagement, and now Execration really start to chip away at the bottom tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they've got pretty decent push coming out. They do not have Dragon Form though, so it's a bit slower coming out from DK, and the options to defend from Boom are very limited. They've got TPs available. It looks like they will just kind of focus on maybe shoving in mid. Mind you, the push potential from a Kunkka isn't that good as well. So it's just a bit better here for Execration. They are kind of keeping 3 heroes on bot lane though. And that's Nico and that's Yoa occupying the same lane, so your DK and your Invoker aren't quite getting as much farm as you'd want by looking for that opportunity on bot.
Certainly not. Dreamercell sees Nico running up, definitely does not want to take the Dragon Tail and will back off. Because while that was all happening in the mid lane, the tier 1 tower was being kind of just attacked down a little bit there by Makoto. Not too much damage being dealt, but significant enough. And it does eventually just back off into the triangle and has to escalate his own farm. Was Palos top lane doing the exact same thing, just having a great time on the Jug. Still well and truly ahead of Dreamercell on the Axe, and it's the Battle Fury build-up, which is something we don't get to see as often anymore in these Jugs. Still can be very, very strong though, as now Makoto hides in the tree line. Spin TP is going to be pretty darn good. In fact, it was perfect timing, as had he not done that, Makoto, he would have had the Hex out.
Just bailing out at the right time. He's getting a ton of space there, but this Battle Fury build is, as you mentioned, it's just not very common on Jugs anymore. I think there's a good reason for that. This is going to allow him to play towards the late game, play against this Axe who's just going to creep cut and constantly shove waves out, with the Manta eventually and the Ag Shard eventually as well, but this also stalls out the timing for Execration, so they have to be cautious about taking some of these early fights. Their Jug is not going to be in fighting form for a fairly long time here.
Certainly not. Yeah, a much kind of later style item build here from Palos. No, bottom tier 1. Slowly sieged down here by Nico. No dragon form necessary from the DK. Makoto, though, will do the exact same thing at the top lane and does get the top tier 1 tower. So it's going to be a very even kind of trade between the two teams. Too special really happening here. I've got to say, Boom, they are slowly but surely getting ahead in terms of net worth. You look at that net worth board, and while I keep talking about how well Palos is doing, Makoto and FBZ, they're doing even better. Yeah, a pretty big cause of concern is, even as this Kunkka is not that popular in the current meta, it still has that really kind of powerful mid-game timing. Especially once you have that armlet up, and well, there you have it. Makoto does have it now. Be a little bit more careful if you are Execration.
Yeah, they are going for the smoke play up top. They do smoke up a stream. This is that triple rotation we talk about. Dragon Tail and Arrow with a cold key follow-up. You can't run.
FBZ, well, he's just going to have to sit there and take it. They want to pick up a nice, easy kill onto the Darkseer. They are rotating more heroes up, though. They've smoked up with Hyde and Makoto. What's it going to lead to? Well, Nico, he's a tanky hero, but they may just have enough with the turret, but no, a nice quick blink out. We'll make sure he does not get caught. Makoto, surprisingly enough, not opting to go for the X back first. Wanted to try for the torrent, but obviously without the setup, couldn't quite get it off.
Yeah, just a bit greedy there with that initiation, and it's just some time wasted out for Boom. This is a lot of space out for Execration, and just Palos is inching closer towards that Battle Fury, and that's when his farm will start to overtake a bit. Like, it still lines up with Dream Missile going for the Manta, so eventually you're going to have to balance out the Manta farming from the Axe with the Battle Fury farming from a Jug, and I think the Axe might get a little bit more leeway because of how his presence in lane is like, but you're still kind of matching that pace. My big question for Execration is, what else is there to wait for? Like, they've got this blink on the DK, maybe a BKB helps cause, but at this point, with such a fast blink, you really need to kind of look for the aggression there. They found that one kill top. They can't really just sit back and relax. Every single time they can, they have to look for those opportunities out, because this is when they're really strong with that quick blink on Nico.
Nico's around now, but they are under vision. So he's not budging. He'll just keep the farm up with that jungle cat. He can go in and just e-ward that sentry that was just placed. So they know the Axe is around, but they also understand they can't really go in for that initiation quite yet. Like you said, this isn't really what Execration want to be doing right now. They'd much rather be fighting and getting that pick off, but unfortunately for them, they're going to have to back off and get back to the farm game themselves. Of course, they are kind of farming around Palos right now, which isn't going to feel too great for Palos. Because it's just kind of a matter of what do we do at the moment. We can't really find that pick-off we're looking for.
And Boom, I think they're feeling a bit ready now. They've been sitting on an armlet from Kato for a while. They've smoked up. They've got the egg ready in Kezcute in case a bigger fight breaks out. And they've got pretty decent burst. A Walrus Punch coming through from Hyde, along with Tidebringer and Torrent, along with a Boat, should be enough to hammer in some kills. The issue is, Boom don't really have the best forward vision, especially in that triangle area, so they're just kind of wandering around like headless chickens right now with the smoke.
They are. Boom was also smoked as Moonlight was popped by Execration. They're going to head over into that Radiant Triangle. Not going to find anyone there, so instead it's into the mid lane where they might be able to kind of loop through the backside. Boom being very, very cautious. Waiting this one out, and again, Execration. They're not going to be able to find the opening they're quite looking for. You can try again as Dream Missile now has shown up. Oh, looks like Execration. They just don't feel confident enough to run up that high ground again. Not without a smoke or Moonlight Shadow. Back off, and Boom, it seems as though they're more than happy to just keep that farm up and allow Dream Missile to catch up to Palos.
Yeah, it's Honestly, not too bad. I think Execration are starting to feel a lot happier now that Palos does have the Battle Fury, though. So you are seeing that Jug slowly overtake. For our Axe, Manta style not quite up, so his farming potential isn't quite at its max potential yet, and that's going to hurt for a few more minutes before that Manta's up, so it's something Execration should be fairly happy about, although Dream Assault's pretty far forward here.
Yeah, Tornado is going to land, but Yoe is going to get snowballed up by Hyde from the backside. They've got a lot of damage out, though. Dream himself, he's going to cop the Ice Blast, and he is not looking too good right now. They do eventually get him down. Hyde, fortunately for him, is still around, but they'll try to go after Yoe, but they miss the vacuum. So Yoe, he'll just keep you right out. And meanwhile, Makoto, he does at least kill off RR. Nico is going to try and pop the Dragon Form, but there's your egg out. They'll just try to focus the egg now. Bit of a miss egg there from Kezcute. About it. So, Execration getting a 2-for-1 trade across the map. Definitely very, very good for them, as they did even find the POS 1 Axe. Hell, Palos, he shows up in the mid lane. He wants to start the tier 1 tower push, and kind of like, why the hell not?
This is a bit of a big spike for Execration. They're running out these trades. Boom still aren't ready to leverage this Axe, and the aggression coming out from Execration is just lining up a lot more. Like, you don't even need Palos to necessarily do anything when he shows up in the fight. Just getting some cleave damage off of the Battle Fury is enough of a threat, and just having Omni Slash on standby is already pretty darn big. So Boom have to be more cautious. Like, they constantly send out Dreamosol into risky lanes to farm. He has to be a bit more weary about his positioning there. Let FBZ be the guy to be up forward. And speaking of FBZ, he's been rushing this Axe for a while on that Darkseer. He's got it up now. So it's flying in. He's going to have the Iron Shell with charges, plus 300 HP on Iron Shell. Just building off of that tankiness, this could help the cause, along with Manta finally being done in Dreamosol. They just kind of have to be a bit more weary with how they execute fights. Have to watch the egg use, and have to ensure that they do manage to get a decent torrent and ghost ship on top of someone.
The team's just kind of sitting back a 5 to 6, 17 and a half minutes in, and there's that Axe you talked about. It is now officially up on FBZ. Being able to add that extra HP for all his teammates. I feel very, very good. They just want Palos to farm, and that's exactly what he's doing. 10.5k net worth right now. Going into that SNY up next, almost has it. Because once you do have the SNY up, you can start to really get involved in these team fights if you are Palos. He may opt to just go for another item just in case he needs it. Maybe that Ags, maybe that Eye of Skadi. With the SNY and with that Omni, you should be able to at least join in for a kill or two. Very quiet from both teams. It seems like both of them very confident in their mid to late game. So if we do get to the late game, John, do you have faith that the Axe is going to be able to kind of outscale the Jug?
It's a weird one. I think the back and forth of that is closer than you'd expect, but it's also really awkward. Like, at the least you're going to have Swift Slash down the line for Palos, but Omni Slash is still your bread and butter. So your uptime and damage is not amazing. At the same time, once you get the Ag Shard and the Jug, it feels a lot better, although Mikado gets an X.
He does. Torrent is going to land. They've got RR. They've got the Snowball to follow up. However, RR gets the Force Stuff, and meanwhile on the backside, FBZ, he was caught for a second, but it won't matter because he's going to be fine as Makoto does go in onto Yoe. They've got the Invoker. Take him down quite easily. Execration. No business in that team fight against Boom Esports, it seems. They were just kind of all over the place as to who they were aiming. Now that mid-tier 1 tower going to be in danger as Dream Assault. Walk up, gives it a bit of a whack, but that shadow hit from Execration might allow them to reinitiate if they so wish. There's your Sentry Ward out though, getting all the vision, and not really going to be able to get much out of this. In fact, Palos, he's going to be careful. Very far forward right now, but with the spin available, safe enough to keep trying to go after that mid-tier 1 tower. How long will they commit for this though? X out. They've got the Jug. No Torrent to follow up. Bring more in now. No way. He's respawned as well. They'll get the stun off onto Makoto with the Chaos Meteor and the Ice Blast, but a great snowball save is there. Out from Hyde, they'll go right back into the backside, but Makoto, he's dropping low. Will be able to get Hyde, but the buyback is immediate. They just got the blink up on Dreamer Cell as this fight was going on, but it seems though Execration are more than happy to just back out after the buyback of Hyde. They'll go for a bit of a smoke, but be able to find anyone. Loop around.
It's an awkward spot. Awkward spot for Execration. No Omni slash up on Paulo, so he's not going to be keen on joining this fight. Gonna have to play 4v5 in this one.
They've got BDZ, they've got the Mirana, but force stuff is there from RR, and he should be able to just kind of leap himself out of this one. He's got 3 leap charges, but Makoto does at least get the X off. It just won't matter. He really just wants that mid-tier 1 tower down here. They aren't fully committing to it though. Boom. Again, playing very carefully, but the Axe Illusions will be enough. RR will just go ahead and deny that tier 1 tower off. They do finally get what they came for. Execration, again, seem more than happy to keep farming on Palos. They'll be alright with this.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good state for Execration to be in. You're not happy about losing your mid-tier 1, but the opposing tier 1 is not too far off from dropping. One more team fight and a bit of a shove in should take care of that objective to even out map control. I think Boom might be feeling some pressure to play a bit faster here, but they're close to that ag short timing for Dreamusal. Once that's up, he is pretty much online on that carry axe, probably just looking to finish up that BKB next. Whereas for Execration, Palos working towards that Scotty next, already has 1 ultimate orb up, just looking for the next orb and point booster. Still about 2,000 gold away, so that should give Boom at least 1 item advantage in that sense, if they can kind of leverage that. We just need to see more coming out from Boom. The team fights have been a bit scattered. We need to see better egg use, I think, and probably a bigger vac wall. This is something we've seen from Boom on that Darkseer. We don't
Shout out Popo Ice Gaming
think about
TV, salamat sa
bigger
pag-like ng
combinations for the
video.
back wall, but as the game goes on, that's when FBC starts to tie it in. So we'll have to see how long that takes for Boom in this game.
Certainly so. Did find another smoke here on Kescute, so it seemed like Boom are more than happy to just keep trying to chase down Execration. And you have that blink on Dreamusal that he hasn't quite been able to fully maximize yet. Sure, he'd love to try and get some more use out of it, but now Execration are the ones to smoke up. Makoto, he's spotted. Nico is there with the stun out. Ice Blast, Sunstrike, everything being thrown, but Makoto, he'll have the BKB to be able to back off and re-engage. Back in with the X and the boat onto the DK, and now your calls out from Dreamusal, trying to go onto RO on that backside. Everyone just backing off from Execration. No one quite dying. That'll be enough for both teams. Nobody dies. A gentleman's agreement. They'll walk away.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say both sides have some damage issues coming in. Like Boom are definitely a lot tankier than what they dish out. Execration aren't at the point where, without committing the Omni Slash, they can find real big burst, even with the use of the Ice Blast. The QBs just make it a lot more awkward for them to burst heroes down, so it's a lot more even, and it's one of those games again. 7-7, 24 minutes in, 1k lead for Boom, not a significant amount at this point. It's getting really tense. You can kind of feel that one bad engagement for either side will just swing that advantage one way or another. And I think that also kind of explains why both sides are being rather cautious in their approach. They're just playing super conservatively, they're sticking as a group for the most part, and they're not willing to give any opportunities to the opposing side.
Lane, Execration, rush in with Palos. Yeah, the tier 1 tower going down, no real contention out from Boom. Mind you, we are 24.5 minutes in, so I suppose at this point you're kind of expected to just drop. Execration, they might even try to set up with that bot tier 2 tower. Also make the rotation in. Very close to that Eye of Scotty pick up as well for this jug. The Palos slowly but surely getting quite powerful. Position 1. Boom though, they've smoked up again. Rotation down to the bot lane, RR. Ice Wall down to see Makoto. Immediately dewatered as Palos. He'll take the tier 2 on back, however, shards do lock him in. They've got him trapped up, but are they going to make the jump? Torrent is there. Down it is Palos. He'll run back the other way onto Makoto and now Nico onto the backside. Wants the tusk. Nice force stuff on Hyde will ensure he is fine. And Palos, quick spin out of that X. We'll just kind of maintain holding that high ground. Boom. Kind of just try to wrap around the long way, but it's looking pretty tough to restart this team fight. They may just have to let this one go. Well, I say that. Illusion's in from Tremasol apparently doing the job onto Yoe, but they're posturing as if they want to fight. I mean, they have got the Omni Slash still up. Ice Blast is back up as well. They're about to lose the Dragon form, so maybe not quite, but at this point you don't even really feel like you need it. We haven't really seen the biggest of Omni Slashes yet from Palos, so that Eye of Skadi now up as well. It's going to be a substantial amount of damage. Still, Boom, they're well and truly far away now. It looks like the fight is going to have to be a little bit more delayed.
Yeah, they're just stalling out, building up some more. Dream Assault's BKB is almost done. I think that's really what they just need, just to have this axe stand forward, get the calls off, get all the damage running onto him, try to spin to win for his team. It's a fight of the Beyblades, really, isn't it? Axe core versus Jug core. They're just top spinning on top, trying to see which top stands for longer. So we'll have to see how that eventually pans out. Yeah, one of the slower games you've seen in C, like 14 kills to 27. Definitely not standard for Southeast Asia.
Always taking me back to my childhood with the Beyblade references, John. But I love Beyblades.
Oh, yeah.
So damn good. Boom Esports. They'll get started on the Roshan pit. With those Beyblades going, John. Just spinning, spinning, spinning. Sunstrike, Ice Blast is going to fly in, and that'll put a stop to this Roshan attempt for now. Look up again, though. Boom. You don't mind going for a big team fight. Just gotta find their target. On Palos, he's quite close by, but RR is gonna frontline for the team. They will get him with the call, but the Tornado might save him just for a little bit as Palos will try to get to work. That'll be about it. Alright, he's gonna buy back in preparation of this next Roshan fight. You do not want to allow this to go down for either side. Execration. An immediate smoke up. The wall really being used up, but get Kescu out of there with the Icarus dive. Nico's still trying to chase him down. Dreamer's not going to be around, but they'll get the Dragon Tail Sunstall. The call is down to Snowball. Again from Hyde. Going to save the day for Kescu. He does have the egg, and he will need to commit it. Right beside of Boom. They are still dropping quite low. Not quite low enough. Kescu and Hyde, they're both down, but looks like Nico will have his life forfeit to Dreamer's Cell. Secretion. They got 2 supports for their trouble, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough to go back in for the Roshan. Still, I say that, they'll get it started.
Yeah, they've got Omni Slash to save Palos, but I think right now you just worry about the jump opportunity from Dream Assault. If you scan out each other, though, the both are fully aware as to where each side is standing right now.
Roshan getting very, very low, surge in. Gonna get the timing right. Dreamer, so he's gonna try and get it started. However, a nice tornado in call. Aegis on the deck. Palos, he's got it. Dreamer Cell, BKB, TP right out. Gives the sorry to the team. Bit of chaos in that Roshan pit for a second, but Palos does prove to be the faster clicker.
Wins out in the top battle now. Execration. They don't really have a massive lead on top of this, but with the Aegis up, it's a lot safer for them to start sieging. They can look at that tier 2 mid. They've already taken the tier 2 bot, so they've got the tower advantage on hand, and Bloom just kind of need to be a bit cautious. They need to find a way to pierce these team fights. Execution has felt a bit off recently, but that's also down to Execration just avoiding the big fights, getting their positioning right at the same time, and just preventing Boom from playing the game they want to play here.
Absolutely. 30 minutes in, 9-9. Cell, arrow. Oh, it gave vision. It is he going for a guess, leaping the right way. He's right next to Cell. Suppose they can smell each other right now, and Nico, yeah, he gets in. He finds the target. That's a big, big target for Execration, and that is your position 1 axe dropping. Now Execration, they're just going to find a way to get out of this tree line.
Yeah. It's a nice kill to take. I think we're
Lane.
to see some of the issues a little.
Nowhere. EKB looks like for now he's going to be just fine and hide. The snowball back to the small camp, and he'll be alright as well. Odo now, he's joined the team, but Execration are well and truly gone. Everyone should be just fine. Odo, they're still trying. Yoe, he's stuck around. Snowball's out. They've got the Invoker. Nico, he's going to jump in. Dragon Tail's out. He puts the fire down on the ground as well, but hides a tanky boy. In fact, they'll turn around now with the shards of Nico. He ran out of the dragon. He does not have the dragon form, but it won't matter because he will pop the BKB and try to fight back. They will catch out Keskute, and Keskute, he understands he's dead. He just allows himself to go down. But they did get Yoa out of that, so all in all, not too bad for Boom Esports.
Not the worst trade in the world. I think the side of Boom, though, they're starting to really sacrifice a farm here. They're not able to keep up on farm of Dreamwhistle despite all of these fights breaking out. Look at Palos. He's got the Ags up on top of that Scotty from earlier. He's got the Swift Slash on top of the Omni. He has many more opportunities to take these fights. And this is the point where the drug starts to feel a lot stronger. He's maximized his Battle Fury because of how slow the game's gone. Boom were not able to really punish that, going for a bit of a slower start on their end with the Axe, and it kind of comes back to this Axe pick. We talked about Dreamwhistle not playing this too often in his most recent pro games. It certainly feels like that. I don't know if this is really what you want to be seeing from the Axe core. It doesn't feel like they've really managed to maximize its presence early on. They haven't gotten the biggest calls. They haven't been able to get the biggest kills with the culling. And Execration is just able to use that against them.
Alos, get started on that top tier 2, but at the very least Boom does get the bottom tier 1. Execration, they're going to force the rotations back towards the base here for Boom. Well, he does push very, very fast. With that alacrity out from Yoair, but should be enough for him. Forced out. Boom, not completely backing either. You still got Dreamosaur farming the Dire Triangle, so trying to abuse the glyph to force back Execration. And it does work out for them. However, there is going to be a smoke out from Execration now, and it seems like they do have a pretty darn good idea as to where the side of Boom are. Or at least Makoto now on the Conquer. They can catch him out, but no, Makoto, he'll get the TP away. He'll be just fine, and Execration, they aren't going to be able to find a pick-off.
Just some time they waste. I don't think it's going to feel all too bad. They've stripped this map naked from the side of Boom. No outer towers left for Boom to sort of sit by and farm safely, whereas Execration has a ton more options. Aegis is about to expire in about 20 seconds or so, so not much time left on that safety net, but they've gotten a lot of farm out of it. Palos is about to hit level 25 as well, so he's going to have that talent spike with either the Omni Slaturation or just plus half a K of HP, which is always big. That's just going to cause more issues for Boom. They're not remotely close in terms of their EXP spread. They're not close in terms of farm. Just, he's basically 4 full levels ahead on this drug compared to any other core from Boom. And that's a lot of EXP that you're going to have to gap close somehow.
Problem. We really haven't seen much of Palos at all. For the Swift Link up next, it's like, why the hell not if you've got this much space available for Palos? He's well and truly having the time of his life on this jug. Dreamosaur trying to work towards the AC now, but I just question whether the Axe is going to be able to kind of take the brunt of the jug later on. I've been saying later on, but we are just about at that point now where they are going to have to eventually clash, these two. There's your AC up though. Green Missile, he's got it available. He's got the strength blink being queued up, the overwhelming blink to be exact, and why not? Just a bit more far for Dream Missile before he's ready to go.
Yeah, this the slower pace of game is honestly not too bad for Boom. Like, for the side of Execration, it's only their Jug getting farm. They've kind of put Yoa and Nico on the back seat, so there's not much progression there on the DK Invoker, which could hurt them. Putting all their eggs in one basket on Palos could kind of hurt them in the long run, especially if that Omni and Swift Slash don't manage to find kills. And there's still the distinct possibility that they lack damage. Even with that Scotty up, you have to worry about the boat buff, you have to worry about Sunray coming out in the back if Boom gets her positioning right. And Boom, they're looking for that smoke play right now.
They are. Toward the top lane they go. Dreamer Soul, he's already in position to try and catch somebody out. And that somebody might be Yoe. Unsuspecting right now, just trying to farm the creep wave, but eventually Dreamer Soul does reveal himself. Just take back the outpost. Maybe prepare for the next Roshan attempt here for Boom. Execration. You definitely want to just control the area around the Roshan pit, especially this late into the game. And for now, they're going to let it go, as there is still plenty of time before... Well, I say plenty, it's 35 seconds before we find out when the Roshan is going to respawn.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
A little bit early to the party. They just want to get ready. They understand how important that next Roshan is going to be. Trying to pull off the victory here in this game one. Execration just seemingly very confident regardless of whether they control the area or not. Can't quite blame them with how farmed Palos is. Now at that level 25 mark, so he's got that plus 1 second duration on the Omni. Even more damage to be pumped out. So darn close to the Swift Link to boot. And Roshan's still got another 2.5 minutes to go, so plenty of time for the farm game to continue.
Yeah, it's going to be steady here for both sides. 10 to 11, less than 1k lead for Execration. Again, you just look at that net worth spread. It's really just all about Palos, so that investment has to pay off. Execration, they've Smoke, they've Moonlight Shadow, they got a good scan in the high ground as well. No, actually, that's a Boom scan.
Oh, Nico is in. On the stun yet, but Hyde is going to be spun down here by Palos, and the damage is already quite darn high. Snowball going to be back the way of Nico, but we're rolling right into his death. Let's clean him up. Well, it's going to be dropped, but Palos is perfectly fine with it. The illusion proving to be a little bit annoying, but doing quite enough damage to Palos to really be afraid of it.
Dire's top tower is under
With Execration, they could just start getting their outpost back, controlling the Roshan pit. Still about a minute 15 to go before it is up. They are well and truly ahead in this game now. We are seeing a bit of difficulty here from Boom to really transition to the late game with this carry axe.
Yeah, they've just been kind of trying to keep that farm. I think they feel pressure to get this axe really big before fully committing. Of course, I think it feels like Boom doesn't understand how poor the other cores on Execration are. Like, Yoa is just at barely 16k net worth. Nico is barely above his own Mirana. I think that's the targets Boom have to look for. Look for these softer targets in the back line, isolate the Jug away, kill the rest of the team of Execration. You can build off that way. But all the farm is basically Palos and nothing else. Boom has much more even farm distribution across their 3 cores. So they've got more to play with on the Kunkka, they've got more to play with on the Darkseer relative to how much Execration has in anyone else.
15 seconds for that Roshan. RR going to keep tabs with the Ice Vortex, but Boom obviously got an inkling that it might soon be up. Love the fact that Makoto is going for that Aghanim Scepter build up, by the way, in the Kunkka. Love the Torrent Storm. They dump in, Dragon Tail's out, Hyde blowing up as Palos now is rushing for more. Pop the Swift Slash, nor the Omni. You hold out. They'll go back for the Roshan now, which is officially up. Boom, I don't know if they really want to let this go, and they don't. They'll buy back on Hyde. They need to contest this. It'll be a free shards as well as the Aegis and Cheese. Boom, they're going to run right into them. Dragon Tail out. They've caught Keskute. It'll be another down for the side of Boom Esports. Now Dreamer Cell, he's trying to rush in with the surge, but he's been caught out. Hide it around, they're going to jump in with the Dragon Tail and the follow-up arrow. They'll lock him down. Look at the Omni in the backside. It's a huge Omni coming out from Palos, just ripping them to shreds. They're going to try and run. Hides down with the tieback. They've lost Dreamer Cell. Makoto, he will be able to TP out. But it's just so hard to fight into the side of Execration. And Palos is this farmed up. It's going to be a free Roshan.
Way too much in the jug, and Boom are just kind of trickling in one by one. They didn't have sentries in that area, so the Moonlight caught them hard. They need to save their supports really. Like, they need a snowball saves. They need the egg to come out from Kescute. Both cases in that fight just not lining up, and Palos just solos it. Literally no help needed. Takes out Roshan, has Aegis on hand, Cheese and Ag Shard as well. Probably gonna have to hand that off to someone else. But all of a sudden, 6k lead from Execration. Just one fight can really swing that advantage your way. And now, Boom, they're going to be playing on the back foot. They don't have outer towers left. The high ground is the next objective here for Execration. They've got a ton of farm and damage on Palos. Boom really need to target these other heroes. They need to hunt down the Invoker, hunt down DK, take those heroes out before anything else. Try to isolate the Jug and ignore him as long as possible and clear everyone else off first.
Lane, Palos. It's fine, they just can't catch him. Why is Palos holding that chance? Classic carry player. Classic carry player, Don. Just can't give it to the supports.
He was playing up top. No one else was up top, you know? He couldn't hand it over. He doesn't want TP away. He's a core. He needs to keep farming. And he does hand it over to Yoe. So they've got the Chaos Meteor with the extra meteors around it. Cooldown down by 15. More uptime for that control, that damage coming through. And Execration just holding steady. 7k up. Boom. Still trying to find answers. Like it just doesn't feel like the axe is big enough to handle all of this just yet. The overwhelming blink is almost up, but they're holding out on buyback as well. They're not going to have that anytime soon. We haven't really seen Mikado use his Daedalus to great effect yet. We haven't seen those big Tidebringer crits come out. And his Ags, it's ready to be bought out. It's just he also lacks buyback. So these big item spikes aren't lined up yet.
Nice call. Dreamer Cell. He's got the big one, but Palos will get the spin off with the Healing Ward and he'll make a run. In fact, he thought about turning around. Won't quite commit. The Ice Blast now going to fly through. Dreamer Cell getting Yuled up into the arrow. And it all does connect as Palos now goes for a Swift Slash, but the Omni go the way of Makoto, and they will be able to find the Kunkka and FBZ. Dreamer Cell still in a very awkward scenario here on that axe. Trying to survive, but just can't take through the damage output. Now they've found Hyde as well. They'll get the Tusk down. Buybacks aren't committed. Can't really afford to lose the next team fight. EXE forward, Tornado does connect. Makoto has been caught on the Kunkka, but he will force Snuff away. Nico is there with the BKB, Dragon Tail, and the Chaos Meteor. Makoto forced the BKB up, but he will be fine as Dreamer Cell jumps in for a massive call out. He'll kill off Yoe and get the Aegis off of the Palos. Immediately Execration looking for a way out. We'll just make the back. Dreamer Cell and chase them down, but unable to find anybody. So they do lose one lane of barracks. They commit a lot of buybacks, but Boom Esports, they're not out of this game one quite yet.
There's a massive lead now from Execration, though. With all those buybacks out, leads up to 20k for Execration. Palos sitting at 56k total net worth, compared to Dreamer Cell 24. Now, that's like a 12k gap. It's not super relevant, but that's like 3 big items that you have on top of the Jug that the Axe just doesn't have. And, of course, you're up on the buybacks. Boom, feels like their backs are up against the wall, and their execution in these fights is just not lining up. They can't really find the biggest eggs. Their chain stun combinations, the follow-up we're expecting with calls, and Sunray on top, it's just really not getting out there the way they'd want, and I think Execration's just playing super disciplined. They don't clump up, they're not giving openings, they're playing a slow game that frustrates Boom, and Boom can't do anything about it. They want to run around, they want to find these kills, they constantly find nothing of substance, and it's just really hard for them to snowball off of that with the heroes they have on hand. Like, they could still play towards that ultra late game that we're about to approach. The overwhelming blink is almost done in Dreamo Cell, but with a lack of buybacks right now, it could be scary if they lose their axe in the next 6 minutes or so. It could just end up being maybe Mega Creeps, maybe just the end of the game if they're not careful.
Lane, they're looking for a hunt here. Woke up. My Dreamer Soul, he just got the overwhelming blink up. Make a difference here for Boom Esports as Hyde. Scouted there for a second, but they could not make the jump in time. The teams. Very conservative style of play here between Boom and Execration. Oh, stun is out though. They've got Makoto on the Conker. Arrow not going to land. Makoto will just pop the BKB and run. Carlos can try and chase down Kescute, but Kescute going to be fine thanks to the shards of Hyde. Instead, all they'll be left with is some axe illusions. Execration still unable to find a victim here on Boom Esports. You gotta keep in mind, John, that there's hardly any buybacks. In fact, there is no buybacks on Boom, so any kill would be so valuable for Execration to be able to go back to that high ground. But they just aren't finding it.
Yeah, it's Boom just being conservative enough with their aggression that they don't overcommit. They get to still retreat. Execration, I mean, these are still tanky heroes they try to jump. It's still an axe, it's still an Kunkka. They've got the shield coming through with the Iron Shell. That's a good amount of HP to pump on top. 300 HP is no joke, especially with the armor values we have at this point in the game. So the burst damage is also a bit lacking. It's just leading to this really, really tense game. Like, it's not action-packed, I don't think it's fair to say, but it's very tense. Right? Like, it feels like we're always at the point where the game could just swing either way. Even at the 20k lead, Boom, if they find that initiation they need, could certainly swing back their way as well. So it just leads to a lot of really tense moments of just running around and looking for those pickoffs.
Mid lane, Cole's going to be there. Dreamer Soul, he's got the big one. Alos is gone. BDZ, he even leaped into that. Nowhere. Back off instead, they'll try to go after. Oh, that's a nice turn from Makoto. He actually caught out Yoe. He can't quite see him. They even get the Aeon disc. That was all blind, by the way. I mean, Hyde has 2 gems on him right now, but I believe he was in ranges now. They will go on to Dreamer Soul. They're trying to fight back. Egg is going to be committed to the snowball. He's going to buy some time as the Chaos Meteor does fly down onto the head of Dreamer Soul. They've gone too far, Boom. They've gone way too far forward. Now Dreamer Soul has been left without buyback. Like Execration, if they so wish, could go back into the high ground of Boom. Toto, being caught out. Cold Snap is there, but he will BKB-TP out immediately. Surely if you're Execration, you are looking to that high ground. You know Dreamer Soul is not going to be back for another 90 seconds.
Yeah, they've got a lot of opportunities here for Execration. Maybe feeling like it's a risk with their Jug buyback, but without the axe, this is a nearly impossible kill to find. Should be able to find that mid. They could play for the Mega Creeps, they could pressure the Tier Force instead. Looks like they will just go try to rush this game now.
The Palos, look at the damage output with the Alacrity. My goodness, Vacuum is there. They get the Hex out as well, though. At least get the illusion of Palos, but is it going to matter? Spin out. They've almost got Hyde. He will be safe with the Tornado, but now the Ice Blast will fly through. But no, the Snowball, again, buying more time for himself. But he will die to the meatballs being dropped from the sky. As Palos, he'll just keep going on to the Ancient. Ancient is completely exposed now as Nico gets a nice stun out. They're still trying to delay this the best they can, Boom Esports, but they are running very, very low on skills right now as Kescute will die. He'll fire back immediately. Omni going through FBZ. He'll drop this ball in the dark, so that'll be enough. Well called GG, and Boom Esports not take out game 1. Up against Execration. He managed to take it, and John, I'll tell you, it was a slow, methodical kind of game for game one. But Execration looking quite strong going into this.
Yeah, they play amazingly well. They just play that protect 1 on Palos. So for protect 1, keep his farm up, and boom!